Just a quick update on one of my bathtub wormeries. This one's been left to mature most of the lockdown really, so it was divided, um, I don't know, 18 months ago, and then kind of as it settled down I continued adding to it, and then, well, for the last 6 months it's just been left to its own devices really. So what I've done today is I've taken out from this half over is all new material. So this is part composted material from one of my big green, not green compost bins, I was going to say green Daleks, but it's actually a Indian sandstone raised sided crate. It's actually, it's cold now, but it was quite warm. It was probably about 35-40 degrees Celsius, although there was still some worms in it, so it's only the centre part of it which had some heat, and around the edges it was slightly cooler. So there's already worms in this, so I know it's not far off being kind of composted enough to put into the worm bin. But what I'm doing is, I suppose this is sort of horizontal migration really. So I've taken out half of the material, I've left this part as the matured material, and then there's not a huge amount of worms in it. You can see there's some here, but this is really pretty much pure cast. I haven't sifted it. This is just as it's been left to mature. So you can see it's really quite good stuff. There's always some slightly woodier material that takes a little bit longer to go, especially the stuff on top, because that seems to be a little bit drier. I've got some of the compostable bags. I'm not really too worried about that. That will break down eventually in the soil, but any bigger bits I'll take out and put in a hot compost bin. So there's little worms in here. You can see little tiny worms in here too. Most of the worms were low down right at the base of the bin where it's slightly more damp. Yeah, I mean there's a good enough amount of worms and cocoons there just to get the other half up to temperature, up to speed. There's some slugs in here as well. Some big wood lice, there's more little worms. But as this is more continually added to with fresh kitchen waste and food scraps and shredded cardboard and paper and things, this is basically like a sort of living bedding for them to eat, and it's already good because it's already quite an established little population of worms in there. So, and then as they move into that half to feed, and I don't bother sifting it because I've got so much of this. There's 3 of these wormeries, and they've got the green roofs on. So these are 3 bathtubs. I've taken out about 25, about 100 litres of worm casts, and so there's about another 100, possibly a bit more left to come. So it's really good stuff, and these are really easy to basically just fill it up with part composted material and leave it, and then when you want worm casts, just scoop some worm casts out. This will settle down quite alarmingly really. This is mature casting, so this is as it's going to go. It's not going to get any more composted really, pretty much it's going to stay like that. You can see there's some little bits of eggshell in there, big worms as well. Yeah, so I'm quite pleased with these. That's, I've said this about before, it's trampoline fabric inside. It's a great big moth. Whee! Well, what I've done here, I'll just quickly show you. Because this was prone to waterlogging, what I've done is I've just built this up about a foot. I've mulched it with composted material and horse manure, also quite a lot of horse manure in it. And then I've put a layer of part broken down wood chip on top, and then I've just mulched over with some worm casts. And what I've done is I've watered that well into the containers, and then I'll cover this with a wood chip mulch as well, because there's already worms in there and it's nice and moist. It holds water quite well, being worm casting, so that will create a nice environment there for the break down the wood chip on top as well, so that'll keep the beds topped up. Yeah, so working around there, and then on, just to show you, I've got bags of wood chip there ready to go into the other Daleks when I get the brewer's waste, and I'm going to continue those green roof planters over the tops of the bathtub wormeries. But you can see it's more visible in reality, but you can see a sort of dividing line down the centre there. So that's mature worm casts, and then that's part composted material ready to go. I'll just put the lids on. The lids are buffalo board. That's reclaimed material from the scaffold yard. So they slide on like that. There's no frame or anything underneath. Just board straight on. They do bow a little bit, so what I do is when I change them over, I put them up with the bow the other way, and then that will settle down a bit more. They're not too bad. They're 12mm. They could be a bit thicker, but it was free, so it's quite good stuff. They're already a few years old, so they're perfectly good. And that one's slightly bigger. When I first made these, I made these the width for the bath, but then realised because I've got the container, it gives you a bit more growing space if you make them 900 wide. So these are the green roofs. What I have noticed with these as well, where they're sitting on top of the bathtubs, any weeds are so much easier to pull out because the worms are already in the compost, so they're breaking down the compost and they're aerating the compost. So it makes anything really quite easy to pull out. I don't know, probably very stubborn now, but yeah, look at that. So it's all really nice and friable. That one's going to snap up. You know, most of the root there, I'm not too worried about a few weeds. But what it means is it just, they're quite low growing, and they tend to suppress the seedlings from growing. Yeah, look, they've got the whole root on that one. So isn't it? Good. And I've got some little dinosaurs as well. I don't know what he is. That one's a Triceratops. Probably authentic colours as well, I'm sure. This one's not quite as bad, but the other one's a bit glow in the dark. Yeah, so that's the bathtub wormery update.